There are places on Earth where life is pushed to its absolute limits. Extreme cold, unbearable heat, almost no water, thin air, and very little food. Environments where most animals would fail to survive for more than a short time. And yet, some birds live there. They don't simply pass through these places, they build their lives in them. They find food, raise their young, and endure conditions that seem completely hostile to life itself. Not by chance, not by luck, but through quiet adaptations that science is still working to fully understand. How can such fragile-looking creatures survive where even large animals struggle? What did these birds do differently? And what is the real cost of living at the very edge of survival? Today, we explore the secret behind birds that live where almost nothing else can. If you enjoy calm, fact-based documentaries about nature and survival, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and continuing this journey with us. In the coldest places on Earth, survival is a constant battle against heat loss. Temperatures can drop so low that exposed flesh freezes in minutes, and food becomes scarce for long periods of the year. For most animals, maintaining body temperature in these conditions requires enormous amounts of energy, often more than the environment can provide. Yet some birds manage to live and function in these frozen landscapes year-round. Species like the snow bunting and the emperor penguin rely on a combination of physical and behavioral adaptations that reduce heat loss to a minimum. Dense feather layers trap air close to the body, creating a natural insulation system far more efficient than it appears from the outside. But feathers alone are not enough. These birds adjust how blood flows through their legs and feet, allowing extremities to remain cold without freezing, while vital organs stay warm. By limiting heat loss in this way, they conserve energy in environments where calories are precious. Cold also changes behavior. Many birds reduce unnecessary movement, cluster together to share warmth, or time their activity carefully to avoid the harshest conditions. Survival here is not about strength or speed, but about precision, knowing when to move, when to wait, and when to conserve every possible resource. In places where cold should make life impossible, these birds prove that survival depends less on size and more on efficiency. In extreme deserts, survival is defined by one relentless problem: water loss. Temperatures soar during the day, shade is limited, and evaporation happens faster than most animals can compensate for. For many species, dehydration becomes fatal long before food runs out. Some birds, however, have adapted to live in places where liquid water is almost non-existent. Desert-dwelling species rely on highly efficient kidneys that concentrate waste into thick uric acid, allowing them to lose far less water than mammals. Every drop is conserved, reused, and carefully managed. Behavior plays an equally important role. Many desert birds avoid activity during the hottest hours, remaining still in shaded areas and becoming active only at dawn or dusk. Their feathers reflect sunlight rather than absorb it, reducing heat gain even under direct exposure. Food also becomes a source of hydration. Seeds, insects, and even dry vegetation contain small amounts of moisture, and these birds are able to extract and retain it with remarkable efficiency. Some species can survive for long periods without ever drinking freestanding water. In environments where dryness should end life quickly, these birds survive by turning scarcity into balance, proving that endurance in extreme heat depends on restraint, timing, and precision rather than abundance. At high altitudes, survival becomes a struggle against something invisible. As elevation increases, oxygen levels drop sharply, making every breath less effective. For most animals, this leads to rapid exhaustion, disorientation, and eventually organ failure. Yet some birds live and fly in these thin-air environments with remarkable efficiency. Species such as the bar-headed goose migrate across the Himalayas, reaching heights where oxygen levels are less than half of what they are at sea level. Their survival depends on specialized respiratory systems that extract oxygen more efficiently with each breath. These birds have larger lungs relative to their body size and a unique airflow system that allows oxygen to pass continuously through the lungs rather than in short bursts. Their blood also binds oxygen more effectively, delivering it to muscles and organs even when supply is limited. Behavior matters as much as biology. High-altitude birds often glide instead of flapping whenever possible, conserving energy and reducing oxygen demand. They time flights carefully, choosing wind patterns that reduce physical strain. In places where thin air should ground life entirely, these birds demonstrate that survival is not just about strength, but about optimizing every breath taken. In many extreme environments, the greatest challenge is not temperature or air, but the absence of reliable food. Frozen tundras, barren deserts, and isolated islands offer little plant life and unpredictable prey. For most animals, starvation becomes inevitable. Some birds survive by becoming highly flexible feeders. Rather than relying on a single food source, they switch diets based on what is available at any given moment. In polar regions, certain birds consume insects during brief summers, then shift to seeds, algae, or scavenged remains as conditions change. Other species rely on exceptional sensory abilities to locate scarce resources. Keen eyesight allows birds to spot small movements from great distances, while precise hearing helps them detect insects or small animals hidden beneath snow, sand, or vegetation. Timing is equally critical. Many birds synchronize feeding with short windows of opportunity, such as seasonal insect blooms or tidal changes that expose hidden food. Missing these moments can mean the difference between survival and failure. In places where food seems almost non-existent, these birds survive not by abundance, but by adaptability, adjusting constantly to environments that offer no guarantees. Some of the harshest places on Earth are not defined by climate alone, but by isolation. Remote islands, vast open oceans, and unbroken stretches of land offer little shelter and few opportunities for rest. For many animals, being cut off from resources and companions quickly leads to exhaustion or failure. Certain birds have adapted to survive in these isolated environments by mastering long-distance movement and endurance. Seabirds, for example, can spend weeks or even months without touching land, resting briefly on the water's surface while covering enormous distances in search of food. Their bodies are built for efficiency. Long, narrow wings allow them to glide on wind currents, reducing the energy cost of flight. Specialized muscles and lightweight skeletons support extended travel without rapid fatigue. Even their sleep patterns adapt, with some species resting one half of the brain at a time while remaining alert to danger. Isolation also affects behavior. These birds rely less on constant feeding and more on strategic foraging, traveling vast areas to locate scattered resources. In environments where help is far away and mistakes are costly, survival depends on endurance, awareness, and precise energy management. Not all extreme environments challenge life through temperature or distance. Some places are hostile because of their chemistry. Coastal deserts, salt flats, and volcanic regions expose animals to high salinity, toxic compounds, and unstable ground. For most species, these conditions disrupt basic biological functions. Certain birds, however, have evolved ways to tolerate environments that would poison or dehydrate other animals. Seabirds, for example, regularly ingest salt water while feeding. To survive this, they rely on specialized salt glands located near the eyes, which filter excess salt from the bloodstream and expel it as concentrated droplets. This allows them to drink seawater without suffering dehydration. In volcanic or mineral-rich regions, some birds feed on organisms that accumulate toxins or heavy metals. Their livers and digestive systems are adapted to process and neutralize these substances before they cause damage. While these adaptations come at an energetic cost, they allow access to food sources unavailable to most competitors. Living in chemically harsh environments requires constant regulation. These birds survive not by avoiding danger, but by managing it internally, turning toxic landscapes into viable habitats through precise biological control. In some of the world's harshest environments, stability itself is rare. Coastal cliffs, open oceans, and high mountain ridges are shaped by relentless wind. Strong, unpredictable air currents make controlled movement difficult and turn simple actions like landing or resting into constant challenges. Certain birds have adapted their bodies and behavior to live within this constant motion. Narrow, aerodynamic wings allow them to cut through turbulent air with precision, while flexible joints help absorb sudden changes in wind direction. Instead of fighting the wind, these birds learn to use it, gliding along air currents to conserve energy rather than wasting it. Nesting and resting also require adjustment. Birds in windy environments often choose sheltered crevices, steep rock faces, or low-profile nesting sites that reduce exposure. Some species even align their bodies directly into strong winds, minimizing drag and maintaining balance during storms. Wind shapes not only how these birds move, but how they think about space. Flight paths, feeding routes, and resting times are planned around airflow patterns rather than fixed locations. In places where stillness does not exist, survival depends on adaptability, awareness, and a deep understanding of invisible forces. Living in extreme environments is difficult enough, but reproduction adds an entirely new layer of risk. Raising offspring requires energy, stable conditions, and precise timing, resources that are often scarce or unpredictable in the harshest places on Earth. Some birds solve this by breeding only during very narrow windows of opportunity. In polar and high-altitude regions, reproduction may be limited to a few weeks each year, timed carefully with brief periods of food abundance and milder conditions. Missing this window can mean skipping reproduction altogether until the following year. Others reduce risk by producing fewer offspring and investing more energy into each one. Larger eggs, extended incubation periods, and intense parental care increase the chances that chicks survive long enough to become independent. In some species, parents take turns fasting for long periods while protecting eggs or chicks, relying on stored energy reserves. Nest placement is equally critical. Birds often choose sites that offer protection from wind, predators, and temperature extremes, even if those locations are difficult to access. Reproduction in these environments is not about maximizing numbers, but about precision, choosing the right moment, the right place, and the right strategy to give life a chance where failure is always close. Surviving in extreme environments always comes with a cost. The same adaptations that allow birds to live where almost nothing else can often reduce flexibility in safer conditions. Energy efficiency, specialization, and precision leave little margin for error. Many of these birds live shorter lives or reproduce less frequently than species in more stable environments. A single failed season, unexpected storm, or shift in food availability can have serious consequences. There is little room for recovery when survival already operates at the edge. Climate change adds another layer of pressure. Rising temperatures, altered wind patterns, and changing ice conditions can disrupt the delicate balance these birds depend on. Adaptations that evolved over thousands of years may not adjust quickly enough to sudden environmental shifts. Yet despite these risks, these birds persist. Not because their lives are easier, but because their survival strategies are finely tuned to conditions others cannot tolerate. Living at the limit means constant trade-offs, sacrificing comfort, safety, and abundance in exchange for access to environments with fewer competitors and unique opportunities. Their existence reminds us that survival is not about perfection, but about balance. When that balance holds, life continues even in places where it seems least likely. When we look at birds living in places where almost nothing else can, it's easy to focus on how extreme their environments are. But the real story is not about harsh landscapes. It's about limits and how life responds when those limits are pushed. These birds do not survive because they are stronger or more resilient in a dramatic sense. They survive because evolution has shaped them to solve very specific problems with precision. Every adaptation, every behavior, and every decision is part of a delicate balance that allows life to persist where failure is always close. In these environments, survival is quiet. It happens without spectacle, without excess, and without guarantees. A small change in temperature, food, or timing can shift the outcome entirely. And yet, life continues, not by overcoming nature, but by working within its strict boundaries. Perhaps that is the real secret behind these birds. Survival is not about dominating the environment, but about understanding it deeply enough to exist within it. If you want to discover more stories about the limits of life, adaptation, and survival in the natural world, feel free to explore the channel and continue this journey with us.